Get rid of it. That's what he said. No hesitation, no lowering his voice, just 3 words delivered like a final signature on a contract. And in that moment, standing across from him in his office with the city glowing behind the glass, I understood exactly how small he thought I was. Yeah, that happened. I'm not telling this story because it has a pretty beginning. It doesn't. I'm telling it because for a long time, I was the person people looked through, talked over, decided for. The woman who was convenient until she wasn't. The one you underestimate because you assume she'll fold. His name wasn't Tony, and mine wasn't Sandra. Different city, different people, same kind of man. Let's call him Blake. Blake was powerful rich in the way that makes people laugh at jokes that aren't funny and nod before they understand. And me, I was temporary in his world. Or at least that's what he thought. The check hit the glass table between us with a soft sound that still echoes in my head. It had more money on it than I'd ever seen in one place, and it was meant to make everything disappear. Me. The problem. The inconvenience growing quietly inside me. He didn't even look at my face when he said it. This takes care of everything. The procedure, a move, a fresh start. Don't make this harder than it has to be. I remember thinking how strange it was that the room felt smaller instead of bigger. All that glass and steel suddenly closing in. I'd practiced this moment in my apartment for days, pacing, touching my stomach, imagining surprise, fear, maybe even happiness. Instead, I was negotiating my own erasure like it was a line item. "There's a heartbeat," I said, my voice shaking even though I hated that it was. "It's not a thing. It's not paperwork." He sighed the way people sigh when you're slowing them down. "You're being emotional. This isn't personal, it's just reality." Reality. That word tasted bitter. Because the truth was reality had already changed, whether he liked it or not. When I pushed the check back toward him and said, "No," he finally looked at me. Not with love, not even anger, with surprise, like a chair that suddenly talks back. "You'll regret this," he said calmly. "You don't win against people like me." That was Act 1, even though I didn't know it yet. The hook, the moment everything cracked open. I left that building with nothing but a purse, a future I couldn't explain, and a strange sense of clarity. It was raining hard, the kind of rain that soaks you before you realize you're wet. I walked for hours. Past lights, past people, past the version of myself who believed love could be borrowed without cost. At some point, I stopped crying and started planning. Not revenge, survival. I disappeared. New number, new town. A small coastal place where nobody knew his name and nobody cared who he was. I stayed with my aunt in a house that smelled like coffee and salt air where the floors creaked and nothing was polished. It was the safest place I'd ever been. The first ultrasound should have been simple. It wasn't. The technician tilted the screen, smiled gently, and said, "There's more than one. 3 heartbeats. 3. I laughed, then cried, then laughed again like my brain had short-circuited. It felt cosmic, like the universe was daring me to keep going. The pregnancy nearly broke me. My body felt borrowed. I was tired in my bones. But every night I talked to them. I told them we were going to be okay, even when I didn't know how. I told them strength wasn't loud, it was stubborn. They came early. Chaos, light's pain that swallowed thought. Then cries. 3 of them. Different, perfect, real. In that moment I wasn't invisible anymore. I was everything. Act 2 is never glamorous. It's work. It's exhaustion. It's doing the same hard thing over and over with no applause. The first years were survival mode. 3 babies, no sleep, learning how to stretch a dollar and a heart. I worked nights, studied online, built something small with shaking hands. I didn't think about Blake. I trained myself not to. Until the email. A conference. Back in the city I ran from. I almost deleted it. Then I looked at my kids and thought they deserve a mother who doesn't hide. That's when the collision happened. I was walking down a crowded street when I heard his voice behind me. Same tone, same confidence, different weight. I turned and our eyes met. His face went pale. Mine didn't change. I kept walking. That was the first crack in his world. 2 weeks later, he found us. A park, sunlight, laughter. He stood at the edge, frozen, watching 3 kids who looked like answers he didn't want. I felt it before I saw him. The air shifted. "Who's that?" my daughter asked. "Nobody," I said, and I meant it. He tried to step closer. I stopped him with one word. "Don't." Not loud, not dramatic, final. That should have been the end. It wasn't. Blake unraveled. He showed up places he could justify. Public spaces. Accidental proximity. He talked about rights and regret and second chances. I told him biology doesn't make you a parent. Showing up late doesn't erase abandonment. Then one of my kids got sick. Really sick. ER sick. Fear that makes your hands shake, and somehow he was there. Calm. Useful. He held the other 2 while I watched monitors and prayed. When I came back and saw them asleep against his chest, something inside me broke open in a way I wasn't ready for. We tried structure, rules, boundaries, no money, no promises, just presence. And against my expectations, he stayed. When it was boring, when it was awkward, when there was nothing in it for him. Then he threatened me. Just once. Lawyers, custody, power. And I slammed the door. Hard. Because that was the man I knew. The one who wins by force. My kids felt it immediately. Nightmares, questions, acting out. My aunt said the thing I didn't want to hear. You might be protecting yourself more than them. That's when Act 3 began. The part where nobody's clean. Blake burned his old life down anyway. Lost status. Lost comfort. Moved nearby. Watched from a distance. Finally, he came to me and said he was leaving for good. No demands, no threats, just papers and apologies. And for the first time, I believed him. "Stay," I said. "Not because I forgive you, not because I trust you, but because they need you and you're trying." That was the real test. And it took time. Years. Small moments. Missed sleep. Showing up when nobody was watching. One day, my fiercest child called him Dad. Nobody prompted her. She decided. We didn't win in a movie way. There was no courtroom applause, no villain collapse. The victory was quieter. Consistency. Growth. Choice. Years later, we stood on the beach watching 3 kids argue with the waves like they could win. I thought about that check on the table. About how close I came to believing my worth had a price. It didn't. It never did. So here's my question for you. If you were in my place, would you have walked away forever? Would you have forgiven? Where's the line between protecting your heart and protecting your children? And do you believe people can truly change, or do they just get better at saying the right things? Tell me what you think. I really want to hear it.